Everyone has heard of the SEALs, or Delta Force, but there is a special force unit that is the most terrifying to insurgents. Alright boys, hold on to your turbans, the British are coming. It's the SAS. That's who terrorists fear, but why do they tremble at the thought of them? So, who exactly are they? We don't know for sure. The identity of their soldiers are always kept a secret. Approximately 500 active soldiers make up the branch, and every single one of them prove themselves worthy through literal blood, sweat, and tears. Despite the highly classified nature of the SAS, the recruitment assessment is no secret. It's arguably the most brutal military evaluation in the world, the selection. Rumored to have a fail rate of 90%. It takes more than just physical strength to pass the selection. The 6-month-long evaluation and training program is often described as pure hell on earth. In fact, 20 soldiers have died during this process alone.
3 soldiers who died on the fan dancing on the hottest day of the year.
Most quit due to mentality or sustained injury like trench foot, hypothermia, frostbite, or heat stroke. Others simply can't keep up. Phase 1 of selection begins in the Welsh Mountains and includes a 40-mile hike that must be completed within 20 hours. And you're not traveling light either. You're making that trek with a full 55-pound kit. Phase 2 of selection is another stamp for your passport, and this time you're headed to the Belize rainforest. Hopefully you like the color green because you're about to see a lot of it. From spiders, snakes, leeches, and the intense jungle heat, everything in the jungle is trying to kill you. You might be thinking, okay, what's the point in all of this? What are the SAS even looking for in a recruit? Easy. Mentality. Who dares wins. Though physical capability and performance are huge factors in surviving the cut, mental grit will ultimately make or break you. The SAS specializes in lethal, high-stress, high-impact situations, leaving them with no choice but to weed out the easily broken. Which leads us to the next part of the selection, the manhunt, escape, and evasion phase. This ain't your classic hide-and-seek match. You're tasked to run from patrol units with dogs tracking you for 5 to 7 days. That means no sleep, a lack of food, and water. And what's worse is what happens if they manage to catch you. Not only are you in for a brutal beating you won't soon forget, but you might even be subject to waterboarding. The last big test of selection is the interrogation phase. Compared to rainforests and mountains, it might seem light, but it's been effective enough to fail 7 soldiers.
First thing she does is get your overalls off. So you're freezing cold, so your dick's disappeared. And she laughs like that. There's a big old paratrooper being down south. He launched himself over the table to knock this bird's head in. And obviously the guards pulled him down. He was off selection. And he'd done all the work on the hills, done all the work in the jungle. And then another guy did it. And she had 7 guys crack.
Once this portion of selection is over, the training begins. SAS training includes everything but the kitchen sink, from evasion driving to medical, urban survival to recon, and of course combat. They take combat training to the next level, utilizing kill houses and real rounds during training to better prepare their soldiers for the real thing. By putting real people among the targets they have to shoot, the stakes are set to the max. Perfect practice makes perfect execution, and perfect execution is their expectation. My bad, that was my inner Dr. Seuss coming out. If you made it this far, congrats, the selection is over. Of the approximate 280 soldiers who attempted the feat, only 6 to 12 of them actually make the cut. There's no grace period for these guys though. After all, what would you expect? After a grueling 6 months, they're immediately locked and loaded, put into one of the 4 Sabre squadrons, A, B, D, or G. This could mean waking up the next day in a desert storm or fighting your way through insurgents just to reach your new squad. The training isn't for nothing. They're deployed in terrifying situations, but by the end of selection, they're even scarier.
An armed man has forced a policeman on duty outside the Iranian embassy in London to go inside the building.
The end came with an assault on the building by the Army's Special Air Services Regiment, the SAS.
Very little is known about SAS operations. There's a rumor that they've never failed a single mission, but with such limited information released to the public, we can't know for sure. 1980, Iranian embassy siege. 6 armed gunmen seized the embassy in London, holding 26 people hostage for 6 days. The SAS ghosts were deployed and made camp near the embassy, where the terrorists had no clue that death was on their doorstep. Once the SAS breached the embassy, they utilized every tool at their disposal to save as many hostages as possible. Flashbangs. mag dumps, and of course tear gas. They don't wear those masks for nothing. Some of the terrorists attempted hiding among the hostages, but they didn't exactly fare well. One of the gunmen held a grenade, and once spotted was shot 80 times from the time he was seen to the time he hit the ground. Within a mere 17 minutes, the SAS successfully rescued 24 of the 26 hostages and killed 5 of the 6 gunmen. Their surviving terrorists spent the next 27 years in prison. Again, all of that within 17 minutes.
And now we go to Kenya for where more than a dozen people have been killed in a terror attack there.
Armed with bombs and guns.
We saw what a squad did to the terrorists in the embassy, but what happens when a lone wolf rogue SAS soldier is called to save lives? In January 2019, Nairobi, Kenya, was rocked by a terror attack when Al-Shabaab militiants targeted the upscale Duset D2 hotel complex. The terrorists were armed with AK-47s, Type 56 rifles, and explosives. The attack began with gunfire and 2 explosions at the hotel. The initial assault involved one of the attackers discreetly entering the complex and detonating an explosive next to the secret garden restaurant. The blast allowed the remaining terrorists to force entry into the complex, further escalating the violence with shooting and grenade attacks. Among this chaos, a single SAS soldier, Christian Craighead, emerged as a figure of bravery and heroism. Craighead was in Nairobi on a training and advice mission, assisting local police and military counter-terrorist units. When the attack unfolded, Craighead, though off duty, sprang into action. He rushed to the scene with his weapons, demonstrating remarkable courage and quick thinking. Over the next 22 hours, he engaged in a perilous confrontation with the terrorists. Employing his near 3 decades of elite military training, his actions were pivotal in saving hundreds of lives that day and bringing the siege to an end, reducing what could have been a far greater loss of life. The attack claimed by the Somali militia group Al-Shabaab, affiliated with Al-Qaeda, resulted in 27 fatalities, including an American citizen. The reason for the attack was to oppose Kenyan involvement in the Somali Civil War and U.S. President Donald Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Craighead was awarded the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross, a significant British military decoration recognizing bravery during active operations against the enemy. Craighead's actions during the Nairobi terror attack embody the spirit of the SAS motto, "Who dares wins." Though little is known about the SAS, their very name strikes terror in the hearts of insurgents everywhere. With a track record like theirs, it's easy to see why. In fact, they're so good at what they do that highly decorated spec ops units like the Navy SEALs and Delta Force take inspiration from them. So, if any high-profile threat or danger ever wanders on British soil, you know who they'll call. It'll be the guys in all black with masks, the apparition who lurks in the shadows, a force scarier than the darkness itself.
Bravo 6, going dark.